Welcome back to Good Day. It's time for Mother Knows Best, and this morning we're asking the question, should report cards be rewarded? So if your child gets a good grade or two, should you reward them with toys, money, what have you? What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. When you do a good job at your place of employment, you get a raise. So it's just a great way to start setting your kids up for it. Not all the time. I wouldn't say that for every little thing, because I don't want that to be their expectation. But I think that's a good idea.
And it doesn't always have to be money either.
Yeah.
Let's go and get ice cream cone or go out to dinner or do something fun as a family, I think. But yeah, I think that's not a bad idea.
I think this is a great place for grandparents to jump in, especially if parents struggling. And we always did with our grandkids. We said every report card that you bring home that has a straight A, you get $25 when you have straight A's. So, it's just an added bonus. And then we're kind of being the ones that are, doing that part so the parents can be.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. We don't pay for single. I don't pay for single A's, but if you bring home a home run all A's, you can get a new dress from Forever 21.
All right.
Oh, yay.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever say to your child, if you get X grade on such and such, you'll get this, and if you do and they don't make that, do you say, well, you almost made it, so it's okay, I'll go ahead and get for you? Or do you say, nope, you didn't make it exactly, we're not doing whatever?
Well, my son actually just had that problem. He missed 8 on a roll by a few points.
Yeah.
And so my husband's deal with him was, if you make 8 on a roll all year, you get a new Xbox at the end of the year. Well, the first report card, and he misses it, so he was kind of upset about that. But the thing about it is he tried. So it's not where we're going to go back and renege on the idea. We're not going to go back and tell him, because we don't want him to just, we told him, well, you're going to have to just keep trying and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you could adjust the price too, or something like that. Because you don't want to keep making promises and then go back on them, or whatever.
Very smart. We're going to be back in just a moment with more Mother Knows Best. Welcome back to Good Day and our Mother Knows Best panel. We're talking about a story this morning. Some parents went off for the weekend and left their 15 and 16-year-old kids at home alone for the weekend. So the parents actually ended up coming home early. This really happened. Now, this sounds like a movie. It really happened, an article out. Parents came home early and caught their kids in the act of having a party at their home. It was about 15 to 20 people, so it wasn't 1,000 or anything, but still a good amount. They didn't make themselves known. They instead called the cops on their kids, and now the kids have those charges. They have been charged with permitting minors to possess alcohol. So the girls have been charged with having alcohol underage. So do you think the parents did the right thing? Would you have done that to your kids?
No.
I think we all want to nominate them for Dumbest Parents of the Year.
First of all, did they never first see this movie? There's a movie, at least one, like maybe dozens of them, about leaving the kids home alone. Okay, so first of all. But second of all, if they were having a party, which the story also says it was the third party they had thrown that weekend.
Oh, yeah, it was 3.
Yes. I don't know how they found that out, but anyway, that came to light. But obviously there's an issue. I mean, this is like, I personally don't have a problem with calling the cops on your kids if they're underage, but that's me. But that's like 100 steps after you've already tried other things. I mean, that's desperate measures. And if you know that it's that point, why are you leaving them home alone? I mean, there's so much wrong with that story.
Yeah,
it's not
16.
Even,
16. They've got no business staying overnight by themselves. They just,
15
shouldn't.
and 16, alone for a weekend?
For their own safety.
And I'm a tough parent. I mean, I took my 6-year-old son, when I found he was forging my name, I took him to the police department, and I let them do a little scare tactic on him. And people criticized me for that. But in this case, I mean, you know your children, and leaving a 16-year-old at home, there are some people who have college-age students that shouldn't be left at home alone. And so I'm like this. You don't call the cops. What you do is you go in there, you get all those kids, you sit down, you pull out your Bible, you have church until their parents get there, and you tell them why they're wrong, and you call every last one of their mamas and daddies because some of the kids got away.
That should have been done months or maybe even years ago.
Well,
That's
see,
not
they
something
dropped the
that
ball on this. This
They
is what you
did,
do next time, Mom and
absolutely.
Dad, if y'all watching. This is what you do. You get all of, because some of those kids got away because, you know, they said they ran.
Right.
But I would have had every last one of them, their names and everything, and we would have had church till your mom and them got here.
We're going to be back in just a second talking more about this subject. Stay with us. Welcome back to Good Day. We're talking about underage drinking per se, and these two 15, 16-year-old kids were left at home. The parents left for the weekend, came back early, just like you see in the movies, ended up calling the cops on their own kids because they were having a party at their house. And so we were getting your reactions, and you kind of were saying you all just wouldn't let it get to that point in the first place. So how do you know if there's trouble signs along the way?
Well, I think, you know, you've heard the thing that how do you know a teenager is lying? Their mouth is open. But, you know, that's way too young to leave two teenagers alone. So right there, the parents have to take some responsibility. And gee, are you really surprised when you come home and find a party going on? Yeah. You know, I don't think I would be. Are there times you want to call the police on your kids? There are some serious times you do. I don't think this is one. And working in the criminal justice arena for sentencing reform and with kids like I do, sometimes once your kid gets a record, that's starting them down a road that you can't pull that back and undo that. And Tracy's an attorney, she knows that.
And you know, that's the very reason why in a situation like this, I would have never called the cops. Now, I can tell you if it was just my child, and I'll give you an example. If my child took their car without permission and left, I would have no problem calling the cops about that because that's just between me and my child. But when you call the cops, you're impacting, you know, the college careers, the future careers of all the other kids who are there. Now, they've made bad decisions, but I want their parents' influence on that. I would never call the cops in a situation like that. I like the Bible study idea better.
Yeah, or either old school, you know, like I was telling you all on the break, my parents would have called the cops. But they would have been on themselves, because every last one of them would have got whoopings. I'm for real. They would have just got whoopings, beatings, whatever you call it. You just, I mean, because my parents are old school, and I'm that way too. I will whoop my child. But at the same time, you know your children. I mean, and my kids, at one point, they were bad liars. I mean, if they, you know, if you asked them something they were going to tell us, you know, a lie, they had the deer in headlights look. So you know when your children are not on the up and up. You know when they're experimenting. You know when things are going on. And it sounded like they were just fed up at that time, and they called the cops. So they allowed themselves to get fed up, so they should be in there with their children.
You know, I agree with that there are a lot of times when you know or you get that feeling that your children are not being up and up with you. But I think sometimes parents don't want to admit that. They don't want to say, yeah, my kid's probably lying, or they don't want to go on to that extra step because they don't want to know. That's, again, the hard job of parenting. You just got to do it.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to cancel that vacation. Gee, we can't go away because no one can watch the kids. And we know they need to be supervised. Well, you know, grow up, cancel a vacation.
Even if they were the most responsible 15 and 16-year-olds in the world, I would worry about the other things out in the world that could happen to them while I was gone. You know, I can't imagine anybody in this day and time leaving a 15 and 16-year-old.
No, but see, you don't cancel vacation. You go on vacation and leave them with the auntie that takes 2 hours to tell a 2-minute story for a whole week.
Okay, but sometimes you can't. I mean, we have no family in our neighborhood here, so if we had to do that, that would be our choice. I mean, we just
or
don't
they
have
go
an
with
option.
you.
I think we'd cancel a vacation.
Would you?
Yes.
Well,
I
it
would have to
depends
get
where we're going. I mean,
creative.
I don't know the situation there. If we were going somewhere to celebrate our anniversary, I'd cancel
Well, we
it.
probably go on vacation if I had to take them, but we'll get supersized and you get the regular.
Right.
Yeah.
Too funny. I love it. Well, we're going to be back in just a moment talking about another story about a girl who was actually at work, and a friend called her because her friend was drunk, and she needed her to come pick her up, and then the friend that wasn't drunk got in trouble. So we're going to tell you more about that story and what the moms think about that in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're talking about an article where a Massachusetts honor student, 17 years old, was called. This girl was at a yogurt shop hanging out. She got a phone call from her friend who was at a party. The friend was, she was drunk, and so she asked if she could come pick her up. The police arrived just moments after the sober girl was there to pick up the friend. The sober girl got suspended from the volleyball team for 5 games, took away her role as captain, and was accused of violating the school's zero tolerance policy against alcohol. The family actually hired a lawyer to sue the school because they felt that they, did not deserve that suspension, but the court had ruled that, it wasn't their decision to make. So the mom said that the school is basically telling kids that you can't go and help out friends and do the right thing because they might say, sorry, I can't help you, I'm going to get in trouble with school. So there's lots of different issues going on here. What is your take on this?
I think they're sending totally the wrong message because it sounds like both of the girls were trying to do the right thing. The girl who was drunk initially made a bad decision by drinking too much, but she tried to do the right thing by calling a sober friend to drive instead of driving herself. And then the sober girl coming to try and help a friend out rather than letting her run on her own. It sounded like there was a lot of leadership, a lot of trying to do the right thing.
Responsibility.
That's not something that should be punished. It should be applauded.
I think this is a case, and they said this is because of their zero tolerance policy. And I think this is where we see zero tolerance equals zero common sense. What if this young lady had not gone to pick up her friend? What are the scenarios that could have happened? She could have been assaulted. She could have decided to get in the car and drive herself. And then what would the school be saying about that? I mean, we always talk to our kids about, if you wind up in a situation like this, call me. And I remember one time when my daughter was 16, she was 2 hours away where she wasn't supposed to be. But she called me because the girl she was with had got drunk. And I picked her up, and she didn't get in trouble. She didn't even get in trouble for being where she wasn't supposed to be because I was so thankful that she called me to come and get her. She didn't want to get in the car with somebody that was drunk.
And honestly, there was a news story, a video underneath the text, and the lawyer for the school actually slandered the girl in court. And so I think that the sober girl needs a new lawyer because the court can't make the school turn back their decision because their rules aren't illegal. So the court can't make them change. But when you slander somebody in public like that at the court, the parents should be suing for slander. I mean, that's terrible. The girl was not drunk, and the lawyer said she was.
Yeah, it is. For one thing, it was a lose-lose situation because if she wouldn't have went to pick up that friend, and heaven forbid she would have gotten into a car accident and something bad would have happened.
But she was doing the right thing.
She was doing the right thing, but I do want to put in a PSA, a public service announcement, that lets on the parents' end talk to your daughter about choosing better friends, because at the same time, it could be a situation where she was around them and she still wasn't drinking and she still could have got hurt. Or what if she was going to pick them up in another...
Teenagers are going to make mistakes.
They are. They are.
We don't know the details. I mean, she may...
I'm not putting the girl down. I think she did an admirable thing. I mean, if it was my daughter, I would like to think that she would have been there.
But I mean, the drunk friend, it's not
necessarily
necessarily
the first time
getting a better...
And somebody may have even slipped something in her drink. You never know.
You never know.
It happens.
True.
So it just the fact that she was willing to stand up and go to do this for her friend. Yeah. I think that's so admirable and wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's what we want our young people to do is to be compassionate, to show leadership and she
what I'm saying is, what the girl did is admirable, and I'm like this, fight for your daughter's right. I mean, the girl did a good thing, and she was punished for it. Next time around, she may not be as quick to do it, and somebody can lose their life. But on the flip end, I know of someone who had a friend that was about to commit suicide, and he took an overdose of pills, and he was drinking, and the person's first instinct was to go over there and try to help his friend instead of calling the authorities first. But that friend was kind of volatile. So a lot of times people get hurt doing, good people get hurt doing, things. So you have to really be careful who you associate yourself with. It might have been the first time. It might have been the first time with her drinking and slipping, but you have to be careful with these parties that we're letting our children go to and so forth, because she could have got hurt. So I'm looking at it on a whole another end, fight for your children, but
Well, Kelly, you mentioned that the article said something about she was in volleyball and she was actually the volleyball captain, and they took her out of that role me, that's probably one of the biggest problems here is because she was probably the best example, you know, of
Exactly.
what you need to do. She was willing to take risks. She was,
Leadership.
yeah, she was willing to step up and do what a lot of people would not have done. And for them to pull her down, that's the biggest wrong message, I think.
Absolutely.
What do you think you would have done if you were in that situation as the parent?
Fight.
I would fight.
Like her parents
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
completely stand behind her and support her.
Yeah.
Would you take her out of the school? Would you take her out of that school?
I think
That's
I would
interesting.
discuss that with her because she still has friends there. I mean,
Right.
she still has, you know, I would want to talk to my daughter about that. Would
Yeah.
you?
But I would definitely have encouraged
might.
her.
I really might, yeah. I really might.
We just want to say thank you so much to Tracy. This is her last day on Mother Knows Best. We have enjoyed so much talking with you these last few months, and we're going to miss you a whole lot.
Miss you too.
We'll be back in the morning with more Good Day. Stay with us tomorrow.
See you later.